It is February 10th, 2026, in Montecito. The time is exactly 3:46 in the morning, Pacific time, and under the faint glow of security lights, a convoy of armored vehicles exits the private gates of the Sussex estate, valued at $14.65 million. Locked inside those reinforced trucks are decades of royal keepsakes, sealed boxes of legal files, and assets tagged for immediate priority transport. Make no mistake, this is not a simple move. It is a tactical withdrawal executed with the grim realization that time has run out on their American fantasy and Harry's royal status. Simultaneously in London, a classified envelope stamped Operation Dual Strike arrives at the King's private study in Sandringham. It contains two distinct directives, one targeting Henry Charles Albert David, and the other for Andrew Albert Christian Edward. Both documents bear the official royal seal and the personal signature of King Charles III. These orders are final. This isn't a practice run. It is a total royal reckoning. We are witnessing the most aggressive power consolidation the British monarchy has seen in over 80 years. On February 9th at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, following a 42-minute closed-door meeting with top advisors, King Charles officially triggered the Stability Protocol to address two major threats. Specifically, the financial risks the Sussexes pose to the crown and the ongoing reputational damage caused by Prince Andrew refusing to leave Royal Lodge. With a single move, Charles decided to remove both problems not by sending them away, but by erasing them from the fold entirely. A senior aide reports the king stated that the institution will no longer be held hostage by people who treat titles like poker chips or hide behind their grief. Family ties cannot protect against a lack of principles. The media will focus on the personal drama, but this is not a soap opera. It is a strategic power play designed to solidify the monarchy's future foundation under William and Catherine. Charles has made the hard constitutional choice, cutting emotional ties, including his late mother's wish to protect Andrew in favor of the institution. Sources at Clarence House claim this plan originated in November 2025, but was delayed until three specific factors aligned. First, it was revealed Harry's Montecito home was leveraged as collateral via a shell company. Second, Andrew refused to leave his residence quietly. And finally, William and Catherine's approval ratings hit record highs, giving Charles the political capital he needed to strike. The strategy was set: publicly oust Harry, then legally dismantle Andrew. On January 28, 2026, auditors found proof Harry used royal titles to secure a $4.2 million bridge loan. Charles viewed this as crossing a red line. Then, on January 31st at 4:12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, the Sussex security team began a midnight evacuation from Riven Rock, loading 12 high-security crates in just 2 hours to prevent asset seizure during potential foreclosure. By February 1st, 2026, Princess Anne ordered a freeze on all United Kingdom family trusts connected to Harry and Meghan. Catherine followed up by signing legal papers to firewall the Duchy of Cornwall from any outside financial claims. On February 6th, internal polls showed public backing for William and Catherine had surged to 74%. That is the highest rating since the 1980s. Then, on February 9th at 8 p.m., the king pulled the trigger on the Stability Protocol. By 6 a.m. on February 10th, a diplomatic courier delivered a notice of erasure to Los Angeles, giving the couple 72 hours to cease using royal connections. Failure to comply will result in formal removal from the lineage on March 31st, 2026. While selling the house looks like downsizing, leaked documents suggest a much grimmer financial reality. Their security runs $8,200 a day, with an annual burn rate of $2.96 million. They owe $780,000 in back taxes and have $6.4 million in frozen production fees due to contract clauses. Plus, a primary loan of $4.2 million comes due in April 2026. Combine that with a current review of Harry's visa status, and it is clear why they are running. A former aide calls it an involuntary retreat. They are escaping pressure from the Crown and U.S. authorities simultaneously. It is a collapse on two fronts. The public reaction to the news has been massive. Within 12 hours, palace social media engagement jumped 37%. The Prime Minister even released a rare statement praising the King's decisive, principled leadership. British papers, which once pitied Harry, are now celebrating Charles as a strong, iron-willed sovereign. The popularity spike comes from one simple fact. The monarchy finally drew a hard line in the sand. Critics have said for years that the royal family was too weak to stand up for itself. But with Harry being pushed out and Andrew next on the list, the institution is showing it has a backbone again. The public is tired of the drama and is cheering for this new, no-nonsense approach. While Harry's midnight escape grabs the headlines, a second, more dangerous situation is developing in London. Prince Andrew is now directly in the sights of a royal machine that has stopped caring about sentiment or tradition. What started as a move against Harry has triggered a complete cleanup of the monarchy, something planned for a long time but never enacted until now. Behind palace walls, staffers have rebranded this overhaul as the Windsor Reset, a campaign driven by a harsh but calculated new rule: no title without the work to back it up. If you aren't present, you don't keep the property. If you aren't loyal, you lose the perks. And right in the crosshairs of this policy are two men born as royalty but no longer fit to hold the rank. For months, insiders have whispered that Prince Andrew's grip on the Royal Lodge, that 30-room estate in Windsor, had turned into a toxic weight around the monarchy's neck. While Queen Elizabeth II was alive, she shielded him. But that protection evaporated the moment she passed away. Quietly, however, the firm had been piecing together a game plan. According to sources near the Crown Estate, Princess Anne held 2 hush-hush meetings with the Duchy of Lancaster's legal team back in January 2026. The main topic was triggering Clause 17B from the 1994 agreement, which lets them revoke housing rights if a tenant damages the reputation of the Crown. A palace rep noted that Anne is surgical with the rulebook. She doesn't play politics, she sticks to protocol, and moving Harry set the precedent needed to go after Andrew. On February 3rd, after King Charles gave the go-ahead, the Lord Chamberlain reviewed the new eviction terms, and by February 6th, the papers to reclaim the lodge were ready. At 7:45 in the morning Greenwich Mean Time on February 10th, a sealed packet marked reacquisition arrived at Sandringham for the King to sign, containing a final order from Anne, backed by William and Catherine. The note stated clearly that the Crown can't afford to let nostalgia get in the way of standards. If Harry is expendable, then Andrew is out of the running entirely. And the legal setup is incredibly slick. Instead of dragging Andrew out by force, they plan to use dormant clauses, unpaid bills, and public opinion to squeeze him out without looking like the bad guys. Why target Harry first? It all comes down to optics. As a war vet and former fan favorite, he still had some lingering support in the States and back home. So, his removal had to look like justice rather than payback, a narrative made easier by Meghan's drama and the mess surrounding the Riven Rock finances. The 72-hour warning, combined with news of that $4.2 million hidden debt, made Harry look less like a victim and more like a guy who bet his birthright on a mortgage. Once the public bought that story, taking down Andrew, who has been swimming in scandal since 2019, was an easy sell for the institution. This isn't just about timing. It is a masterclass in storytelling, shifting public support to the next generation, while Charles cleans house. William and Catherine are crushing it in the polls, with a YouGov survey from February 10th showing 81% of Brits view them as the future of the monarchy. Catherine's popularity with women aged 25 to 45 jumped to a historic 89% after she quietly secured the family fortune from outside lawsuits. It is more than just PR. Catherine is now running the Oversight Committee, effectively making her the gatekeeper of the royal vault. She was the one who insisted on the financial firewall that blocks Harry, Meghan, and their kids from royal money unless they move back to the UK for good. That wasn't cruelty. It was damage control. A Treasury aide noted that she managed to turn poise into policy. At the same time, Meghan Markle's safety net in Hollywood has completely fallen apart. On February 9th, the Clooney Foundation officially scrubbed Meghan from their donor list. That same day, Tyler Perry's security team announced they were cutting ties with the Sussexes due to all the bad press. Netflix and Spotify are backing away too, reportedly drafting a statement to split for good, which would end any content branded with the Sussex name. Inside their Montecito home, the mood is reportedly grim. One anonymous business advisor said she thought the titles bought her some runway. She didn't realize the titles times were times the runway, and the clock has run out. Both Harry and Andrew are staring down a hard deadline. March 31st, 2026. If Harry doesn't establish residency or stop using the royal brand, he gets erased from the official family history. For Andrew, refusing to leave the lodge means they seize the property under Clause 17B and strip his perks, including his security detail and legal cover. Basically, you are either on the team or you are gone. 2 princes, 2 messes, and 1 stubborn institution. King Charles has made his big move, but the real story is the mental breakdown happening in Montecito. Princess Anne is quietly managing the evictions, aiming for March 31st, a date that echoes the abdication crisis of 1936. The board is set, and the crown is on the offense. From the street, the Sussex mansion still looks impenetrable. High walls and manicured grass conceal the panic inside. But insiders say the situation behind those gates isn't a strategy anymore. It is a spiral. Harry is reportedly zoning out, going silent for hours and pacing the garden path over and over. Meghan, meanwhile, is in full crisis mode, glued to the phone with whatever staff she has left. A source briefed on the intel sent to Sandringham described the household with just one word: unstable. This goes deeper than moving trucks or paying bills. Their entire identity is crumbling against a ticking clock enforced by immigration laws and breach of contract suits. Witnesses spotted Prince Harry alone at Butterfly Beach early on February 10th and again on the 11th. A local jogger said he was just sitting on a piece of driftwood, totally alone, with no bodyguards in sight, gazing blankly at the ocean. He didn't budge for nearly 60 minutes. Eyewitnesses claim he's giving the silent treatment to his staff unless he absolutely has to talk. One person noted he's totally checked out. He knows the ship is sinking, but he refuses to grab the wheel. This mental retreat is a huge flip from Meghan's manic energy. People in their inner circle claim she's still hustling, clinging to the fantasy that a Hail Mary documentary, a last-minute backer, or a bombshell interview could save their bacon. But palace insiders insist the word from London is crystal clear: 0 extensions, 0 special treatment, 0 meetings. The core of this breakdown is a harsh reality. The Sussex brand bet everything on 2 gambles. First, that they could keep their royal perks on the down low. Second, that the fans would stick by them through the drama. Both bets failed. Without the Montecito mansion, they don't have a luxury home base. Stripped of official rank, they lose diplomatic immunity and security clearance. With their popularity tanking, Hollywood doesn't see them as moneymakers anymore. A confidential memo from a top Los Angeles crisis firm put it bluntly: the couple isn't an asset, they're a liability. High risk, 0 control, and big business has cut the cord. Netflix put their next project on ice indefinitely. Spotify wiped their podcast from every recommended playlist. Word is the talent agency shot down Meghan's pitch to bring back her solo show. While she scrambles and Harry withdraws, Princess Anne has stepped up as the silent boss of this restructuring. Working from her Gatcombe Park estate, Anne has been hosting secure meetings with the king's lawyers, real estate brokers, and facility managers. Her job: organize the next round of evictions. Priority number 1 is the Royal Lodge situation. The plan is to turn that property into temporary housing for military VIPs and state events, matching the king's strategy to streamline assets. Sources say her internal note was brutal. We cannot have a future where that estate remains a private hideout for scandal. Anne also kicked off a review of every minor royal still getting a paycheck or logistical help. Insiders call it the quiet pruning. That March 31st deadline isn't random. It's when the bridge loan on their mansion officially defaults. It also marks the reset for the monarchy's second quarter budget. Plus, the updated legal rules from the late Queen's handover plans kick in fully. Basically, anyone not following the housing and behavior rules by March 31st gets wiped off the map. For the two princes, that means no jobs, no access, and no mentions in the official records. Staffers call it the silent deletion, no press conference, no big scene, just a quiet removal, like being ghosted by the crown. Meanwhile, over in the States, their mess has flagged the radar of American immigration. Harry's one talent visa is reportedly under the microscope. Authorities are looking at two things: the drug history he confessed to in his book and his shifting reasons for staying here since he doesn't have a steady base anymore. A Homeland Security source whispered, once your house is gone and your agents bail, your visa gets shaky. If they pull his papers, he could get deported or have to beg for a green card through his wife's citizenship. That would make their legal standing even worse. The palace didn't cause this, but it fits their game plan perfectly. Let the real world handle the punishment. Let the royals stay quiet. The genius of this move isn't fighting back. It's letting the system do the work. The senior royals aren't engaging in a brawl. They're just letting the laws, the banks, and the protocols squeeze them until they collapse on their own. As one legal expert for the Crown said, it's not payback, it's a system reset. They're done pretending this is a family spat. It's strictly business. Back in Montecito, the house is practically empty. The furniture is gone from the main rooms. Staff got fired in waves. Paparazzi drones are buzzing overhead, but nobody has said a word officially. A worker who left last night says it's dead silence inside. Voicemails are full. Nobody is calling London back. Rumor has it Harry still won't talk to his dad face to face. Allegedly, Meghan tried reaching out to her royal cousins for backup, but got rejected. The walls are closing in. 48 days until they get erased, until the rules change, and the family tree gets pruned. The big question is whether he'll finally react or just let history repeat itself, ending up as another exiled outcast instead of a rebel. Nobody ever imagined two key royals could lose their standing at the same time, one who left on purpose and one locked out from the inside. But insiders confirm the monarchy is running a total system cleanup, the biggest since 1936. It's not an accident, it's by design. To the public, it looks like a sudden crash, the midnight move, the eviction, and Hollywood turning its back. But really, this is the finale of an 18-month mission to fix the narrative, lock down the damage, and stop the bleeding. At the heart of this storm sits a rare alliance: King Charles III, Princess Anne, plus the future monarchs, William and Catherine. During a private strategy meeting at Windsor Castle on October 18, 2025, these four top royals reportedly locked in a game plan that will define operations through 2026. Insiders are calling this the Windsor Doctrine, and the concept is brutal in its simplicity. We stop protecting the brand by covering up for people. We protect it by disciplining them. That moment marked the death of Queen Elizabeth's old keep calm and carry on approach. Now, we're looking at a sleek, legally armored operation that isn't afraid to cut people loose publicly. It meant Harry and Andrew were officially out in the cold. They became nothing more than numbers on a spreadsheet. Picking February 2026 wasn't an accident. Palace insiders say 5 specific factors lined up to create the perfect storm. First up was the money running out. That $4,200,000 loan on the Riven Rock estate had an April 1st deadline, giving the palace a clear look at just how broke the Sussexes might be. Then came the vibe shift in the media. Press in both the US and UK had soured on Harry and Meghan, making it safer to strip their titles without public backlash. Third was Prince Andrew digging his heels in. His refusal to downsize from Royal Lodge back in October 2025 gave Charles and Anne the excuse they needed to drop the hammer. Then you have Catherine's financial blockade. Signing that estate amendment in January 2026 effectively cut the money supply for anyone not living in the UK. Finally, the visa issue. In late January, the British Embassy got a heads up about a review of Prince Harry's status, handing the palace massive leverage from the outside. This isn't just about taking away medals. The monarchy is effectively erasing them from history. Rather than putting out angry statements slamming the Sussexes or Andrew, the firm has gone silent. They scrubbed Harry's charity links from official sites and started bouncing all Royal Lodge questions straight to the Crown Estate business office. Phones at Kensington and Clarence House basically stopped answering calls from anyone connected to Sussex or York teams. One legal expert calls it institutional suffocation. They aren't fighting. They're just pulling the plug. Legally, the Crown is keeping its promises, but it's refusing to pay for, protect, or acknowledge them. A Treasury insider confirmed that all extra cash payments for old offices were cut off on January 31st, 2026. Andrew lost his security funding on February 6th. By February 10th, neither man could get into royal properties. Their access codes were dead. On top of that, Anne reportedly locked down family trust transfers for Harry's kids, Archie and Lilibet, until they can prove they actually live in the UK. According to sources, Anne told the council plainly, "This isn't punishment. It's just the new order." While Charles lays down the law, William and Catherine are handling the optics. No interviews, no drama, no tweets. Despite the silence, polls and editorials everywhere are hailing them as the face of the modern monarchy exactly as planned. Since January, Catherine has been having off-the-record chats with top brass at the BBC and ITV to refocus the brand on service and stability. Meanwhile, William quietly stepped into the military roles Harry left behind, cementing his status as a soldier prince. Word is the couple filmed a video dropping in April to announce their new setup, acting as co-executives for the king. It's framed as evolution, not exile. This is the future, not a scandal. Scrambling for traction, Meghan is reportedly pushing the nuclear button, a streaming series tentatively called The Exit Blueprint. It covers their last days in Montecito, the breakdown with Charles, and the alleged money freeze. But sources warn this project tripped a commercial forfeit wire in royal contracts, allowing the palace to strip titles if private family chats are sold for profit. Releasing that show before March 31st could provoke an instant counterattack from the Crown. Worse, it would permanently burn the bridge for Harry, Meghan, and their kids ever returning to the fold. Without a valid address or compliance, their HRH status gets wiped from the books, and Archie and Lilibet's titles go into indefinite suspension. As for Andrew, if he doesn't leave voluntarily, the Crown Estate plans to lease Royal Lodge to defense charities instead. On the business side, William and Catherine will likely step up as deputy leaders by mid-April, running the show while Charles handles the constitutional duties. The signal is loud and clear. The Crown survives not by bending, but by knowing exactly when to amputate. This isn't a collapse, it's a fortification. The House is rearming itself. As the royals pull off their biggest restructure in decades, the shockwaves are hitting diplomatic and political circles worldwide. What started as cleaning house with 2 rogue family members has morphed into a global stress test for the monarchy's power. Just hours after the February 10th order dropped, the UK Foreign Office sent classified memos to key Commonwealth allies. Canada, Australia, and New Zealand were all warned that changes to security, succession, and royal status were being locked in by March 31st. Officials in Ottawa confirmed that come April 1st, Harry and Meghan lose their VIP diplomatic status for Crown-related events. Down in Canberra, the debate is heating up over whether future royal visits, especially for non-working members, should require strict residency rules. While this might look like just bureaucratic shuffling on the surface, don't be fooled. This is a massive game-changer. The palace is drawing a line in the sand, establishing that international standing is reserved strictly for full-time working royals. Down in D.C., discussions regarding Prince Harry's one-visa status have hit a fever pitch. You have Homeland Security teaming up with the IRS and the State Department to strictly audit Harry's revenue streams, sponsorship deals, and residency claims. Top of the list is the worry that future earnings linked to the royal brand were exaggerated, plus the alleged misuse of diplomatic immunity in private security talks, and the absence of a lawful home address since the Riven Rock exit. One State Department insider put it bluntly. Without the title or the job, his legal argument for staying in the States dissolves in a heartbeat. Meanwhile, across the pond, this cleanup has unexpectedly restored public trust in the monarchy's moral backbone. Fresh data from an Ipsos Mori poll on February 13th shows that a staggering 77% of people see Prince William as the true moral compass of the institution. King Charles has seen his approval ratings jump by 11 points, while the hashtag necessary firmness dominates British social media feeds. Even anti-royal voices in Parliament are holding their fire, acknowledging that the House of Windsor is finally taking out the trash. Palace aides insist this is by design. One staffer noted that William's refusal to engage is his most powerful tool. While others peddle chaos, he represents absolute order. Off-camera, Meghan Markle is reportedly testing the waters for a pivot into American political activism. Leaked correspondence reveals her camp is contacting progressive PACs and women's rights organizations to build a post-royal platform, though insiders warn it is a dangerous visual. A CNN analyst pointed out that ditching a monarchy to join a democracy could blow up in her face, particularly if she loses her titles right in the middle of a campaign. With the March 31st deadline fast approaching, every single step Meghan takes is being put under the microscope. Trying to overhaul her image while gripping that Duchess title could provoke the UK Privy Council to issue an immediate erasure order. 45 days are left on the clock. 2 men, 1 institution. The globe is looking on as Harry and Andrew face total removal not from history books, but from the realms of power, access, and security. The age of royal free passes is ending, and the Crown's final maneuver has silently begun. From behind the gold-plated gates of Windsor to the closed doors of Montecito, 2 parallel destinies are now set in stone, with 0 chance of reversal. Prince Harry, formerly the world's darling, is now tiptoeing on the edge of total institutional exile. His last chance to provide proof of a UK home and stop cashing in on his royal name runs out at the stroke of midnight on March 31st, 2026. If he misses that mark, the lineage records get an update. His HRH status, plus the birthright privileges for Archie and Lilibet, will be officially put on ice. Back in Montecito, insiders claim Harry has stopped answering all calls and letters. Meanwhile, rumor has it Meghan is looking over contracts for a desperate final docu-series, a risky play that could spark immediate removal under the commercial forfeiture rules. Over at the Royal Lodge, Prince Andrew is digging his heels in, but Princess Anne has already dispatched the final warning. If he isn't out by April 15th, Crown officials are set to seize the property, citing Legal Clause 17-B. No pomp, no appeals, no do-overs. The monarchy hasn't just safeguarded its framework. It has completely rewritten the playbook. A family famous for keeping secrets has drawn a hard line in the sand. There is no royalty without responsibility. King Charles has picked discipline over feelings, while William has chosen quiet dignity over a media circus. And Catherine, with steely determination, has become the ultimate gatekeeper between unearned privilege and actual duty. We have reached the final chapter. They might keep the titles for now, but the access, the clout, and the legacy? That cord has already been cut. As the institution looks to the future, one brutal truth rings out through the corridors of power. You are only royal as long as the crown decides to remember you.